Welcome back. So start off this morning, Cobbs is going to run through a couple of items.
So Rangy's not in this group, but he had a 2-year anniversary of the business last week, so quite a few coming up with that soon. Also, just thanks to everyone for the way that we've all adapted with the split shift, the separation, all the things that don't come naturally to us. So well done on that. I know they're talking about easing some stuff, but let's not get complacent with that. Probably we've got more of an issue in the office than out here in the on the trucks, I think, with that. And just probably the little things, and I think Daryl's going to touch on that with what he's been finding out, but because we're starting different times doesn't mean that we finish a bit earlier than what we're supposed to. I just noticed that there's a bit of a trend over the last couple of weeks. It's just an extra minute, 2, 3, and now it's 6 and 7 minutes at the end of the day. We get paid for 8 hours, so let's work it, all right? Let's do the right thing by the business. That's it.
Thanks, Cobb. Next on the list, we got a safety alert 865 head injury MTI. Rule's going to read out for us.
Recently a trade skilled worker sustained a laceration to the top of their head whilst passing a pole wrap to another worker and descending the front step of the pole trailer drawbar. The TSW was seated in an adjacent vehicle when asked by another worker for a roll of pole wrap. TSW exited the vehicle with pole wrap and began to pass the pole wrap when the incident occurred. The TSW was not wearing a hard hat at the time. The TSW hit their head on the top corner of the steel channel of the Stobie pole and sustained a laceration about 25 mil long. First aid was administered on site, followed by a checkup at a medical facility where skin glue was applied to seal the wound. The learning points that they've got listed are that this event serves as a reminder that correct PPE must be worn even when exposure to the work environment is extremely minimal. Always ensure an adequate risk assessment is conducted for all tasks, big or small. Your safety is your responsibility.
Thanks, Ryan. Next on the list, just to do with traffic managers. So just had some feedback that they've been asked to help when they shouldn't be. So just some dot points to take out of that is the traffic controllers are not to be assisting crews on site, other than obviously with traffic control. The crews are not to ask for assistance with jobs unless it relates to the managing of traffic or pedestrians. Traffic controllers are not to offer help to the crews if there is minimal traffic or pedestrian management to be done. Traffic controllers do not have high-risk licences and therefore not to be performing any such tasks. They are not permitted in drop zones. They are not to be treated as lackeys. They are on site to separate the crew work from the traffic and pedestrians. So I'd expect you to treat our traffic controllers just like if we had ultrasound, you wouldn't ask them to go and stand a pole. Alright, just keep that in mind. Next on the list, Mark Davies. Hazard log last week, dropped bolt from White.
Yeah, I think we missed one.
Oh, sorry, I did too.
That's all right. I'll
Go
do
next.
this. Just through an observation last week, we picked up a hazard which we put into a naval line about just dropping a bolt from height. So I've written here, please maintain your drop zone requirements on site to mitigate the risk of falling objects from above. So at the moment we're reviewing the drop zone exclusion zone management, requiring a minimum of using cones to identify the drop zone area. So I've given the drop zone requirements to the TSW6, so hopefully they'll give you a copy this morning with your job folders. In there, the minimum requirement, and it does give you some options of how to set up your drop zone, but you definitely need a visual drop zone there. So the minimum requirement for us, I reckon, which would suit, would just be setting up a zone just with cones. In the document it says a minimum of 4 metres, but I think that's fairly impractical on our site. That'll encroach in the traffic a fair bit if you're taking that 4 metres from the centre of the pole. So just start setting up your drop zone correctly. I've also, so any feedback on how you're actually doing it at the moment, I'm happy to listen to, and if there is a better way, you know, we can go back and maybe put something in that document. But as it stands today, please just put your drop zone out. Just stop people from going in that area. All right. Thanks very
The
much.
guy in the bucket should have an awareness too, and the guy on the ground. Guy, if you're upstairs, when you see someone coming in, just bloody tell them to get out, you know, or wait until you finish doing what you're doing. Especially some things where you're working outside the bucket and you've got your hands going, you know, flat out. Just look after your mate on the ground as well. All right? Don't rely on him just to keep out of it.
Yeah, I'll keep it on there. So thanks for that, guys. Daryl's going to go through some stuff on extendable sticks.
Extendable sticks. Most of you will know, all of you hopefully would know, that only the top section of an extendable stick is the insulated part of the stick. The rest is just the reach. Fair one at the top of the sticks have been painted with paint marker to identify it for a truck. Now we've just degraded that insulation. Also, when you're using an extendable stick and you're reaching past live assets, an example here would be a load switch. You want to lock it in operative, and there may be live DF bases below it. Have a risk assessment about breaching clearances. Think about the fact that when you reach past that, you're not going to have your 1.2 metres as you would with a switching stick, and you don't have the full control of it. It doesn't say that you can't open or operate devices in the vicinity of high voltage, but you need to think about whether you've got full control and whether you may be breaching your clearances. So if you haven't got full control and you're going to breach clearances, or there's a chance it could happen, use the EWP, that's what they're doing. Some of the other things noticed in my travels since I've been here is the majority of it's all really good. So thank you, you guys are doing a really, really good job. There are some small things, wheel chocks, and I know it can be a contentious issue, but our directives say that we're going to put wheel chocks in. We pay people to put wheel chocks in, put the wheel chocks in, all right? The risk is that period between when you're setting up and you're packing up, all right? So I don't believe it's a new subject, but if you could emphasis on that. The need for the groundsman to be suitably dressed if people are going up into the air and going to be working on live low voltage. You all know the rules, but sometimes you get caught up in the day, you move from one task to another. We need to be thinking about that. What else we have in here? Use the wheel chocks. Fire extinguishers. I know the season's changing and the risk of a fire is very low, but think about your vehicle inspections to include those watertight fire extinguishers. Found one of them had no water in it, and look, it may have leaked, but you want to be conscious of checking all your equipment. And the other thing is what material equipment you leave in a bucket when you're mobilising. Just think about tools bouncing around in buckets. It's not good for the bucket, it's not good for the tools. But overall, and then they are minor things in the scheme of things, but overall, you're doing a really good job.
Thanks, Daryl. Next, guys, the Power Apps app. We did bring this up a couple of weeks ago. Has everyone downloaded that? Switching operators and people with asset access? Not many people download it. Everyone needs to download that. I thought I had my phone here, I was going to show you. It's quite simple, but they're not issuing physical substation access license or switching licenses anymore. So if someone wants to come out and do an audit on you and you're out of date on that, you need this app. So if you're not sure, you're over at Mark, come to Mark or myself or Ryan, and we'll be able to help you. It's pretty, I actually think mine was already on my phone. I reckon it's already there, so you just got to turn it on and have a look. Yeah, under work. It's a purple app. You can't miss it. So before you all go today, if you can just have a quick look on your phone, please, that'd be good. I don't know if there's anything else in here.
So I just want to carry on a little bit from what Daryl said. we have done really well as a business. We overlooked that sometimes about bleaching. Oh, okay. So we overlook that sometimes because we get caught up in what else we've got to do better. So we have done really well. Daryl's pointed that out a couple of times. But there's just little things now that we've got to focus on to make us more professional, to make us into a business that a client wants to come to every time. I noticed the other day I was out on site and Rob Patterson and Ben Williams, they were doing a couple of shackle insulator changes on a service pole, and there was a stirrup and an old shackle insulator from an open wire service. Now, he was already up there and we won't get paid for it. It took him less than a minute to take that off and put the bolt back on. Just cleaned the pole up, made it look like a good job. While he's up there, also they repaired a broken strand on the neutral, took photos, sent it into Cam Fraser. We'll get paid for that. So it's just those little things now that we're looking for. Those little things that will make us a business that a client will say, we want distribution services to do our work, and they'll probably be prepared to pay a little bit more for it because they'll get a good job. Now those little 1%ers, they also roll into safety, they roll into switching, they roll into all parts of our business. In the office, my job, Cam's job, all those little 1%ers, Leanne chucking in one more job in the schedule. That's our goal for the next 6 months or so, all right? But we have done really well, and thanks Daryl for reminding us of that, because we often overlook it.
All good. That's it, everyone. Thank you.